you know, you still got people who having this conversation, debate, or whatever you want to call it on who is the GOAT out of LeBron and Jordan. And in this video, I'm gonna give you some key factors on why Jordan is the GOAT and it may be in concrete that he the GOAT. I just don't see nobody else coming and doing what Jordan did, right, to take that title from him. Now LeBron, of course, we know talent wise, yes, he is better than Michael Jordan, talent wise, because he can play all five positions. But it's more that go into a conversation when you talking about a GOAT of a particular sport. And LeBron don't even come close. And I'm about to tell you why a whole bunch of it. First of all, if you just watch, if you too young, you know what I'm saying, to actually have watched Jordan play, such as myself, in person and on TV, The Last Dance, and he got a movie out now. They doing a biopic about him called Air, and I'm sure that's gonna just add to the narrative that he the GOAT. But The Last Dance pretty much showed you um why Jordan is the GOAT. What Jordan came into the NBA and did for the NBA, I just don't see it ever being replicated. Jordan came into the league. He was great from day one. He didn't have a great supporting cast when he got the greatest supporting cast. Um, Within 6 years later, he had won a championship, and not only did he win a championship, he three-peated, and that's something that not many people was able to do. That's great. That's a feat that LeBron never did, never will do, and not many people, like I say, can say that they did that. Now, also, not only did he change the way people look at the NBA, he changed the whole. He made NBA a world-renowned sport. You know, Jordan did that. Right now, today, Jordan haven't played basketball, I believe, in 20 years. And right now, any shoe that he have come out, retros, I'm saying, and he got his own team Jordan, then he got his brand Jordans, and they got people who wear that. A lot of black people don't wear it, but other races of people wear it, and some black people wear it. But I'm saying his shoe, right? His shoe right now today is the biggest thing that ever is the biggest shoe, urban shoe, basketball shoe, everyday shoe. His shoe is the most. Nobody ever surpassed his shoe. No Kobe's, no LeBron, no Dame, no Kyrie, no nothing. Let's see what else. I can go on and on about why he'll always be the GOAT, because just what he did for the league. But like I said, I really want to make this video to commentate and react to what these two numbnuts said, because both of them numbnuts, you know what I'm saying. But they said some things in this particular episode that I want to react to. And going off, some things that I just said, that's some of my things that I got that I can say LeBron the GOAT. And that's not adding all his accolades in the league. I'm really talking outside the league. And that's why I say it's more to go into somebody when you call him the GOAT. He got the number one basketball shoe ever. He changed the face of the NBA. You know what I'm saying? And another thing, Jordan was raised by, I said, like, I gave a brief. I spoke about this briefly in another one of my videos that wasn't concerning basketball. But LeBron, of course, was raised by his mother. Yeah, might have had stepdads here and there, but for the most part, LeBron was raised by his mom. Um, and Jordan was raised in a nuclear family, a mom and a daddy, a great family, a great household, and he had a great father. And one of the things that he said in his documentary, I mean, not in his documentary, in that Last Dance documentary, which you might as well say was his documentary, because it just made the people who liked Jordan love him, and it made the people who didn't know him like him. Um, you know, he said, when they had a controversial situation that took place with him, with a politician in his hometown or whatever, and he made a statement that Republicans wear Jordans too, and they took that and ran with it because, you know, if you black, you're supposed to be Democrat, which is the most stupidest thing I've ever heard. But that's not here or there. That's another video for another day. But anyway, so he says that Republican was Democrat. They went crazy about that. And you know, when they asked him about that statement and they asked him about that situation, because it was something about he was supposed to endorse the first black, I think, mayor in this particular town, which was supposed to be a racist town or whatever. You can check the last document. You can check the last dance documentary, or go find out the situation and get the real details. I'm not gonna get off into all that right now. I know the details, but I'm not really gonna go. I'm not gonna dive deep into that because that's not what this video about. But yeah, it was a black Democrat going against a so-called racist Republican in a racist town, and the black guy was supposed to be the first black person to be a mayor in that particular town, and he didn't endorse him and whatever. But come to find out, he did send him a financial um donation. Like I say, check it out. Do your research on that. And so they went crazy about that. And he said when they asked him about that statement in the Last Dance documentary, his response was, I don't speak on things that I don't really have knowledge of. And I felt that was very, very powerful. That was very, very powerful statement because, see, me as myself, I used to love LeBron James. A lot of celebrities that I used to love into the last couple of years, they showed me who they really were. But that's not here or there either. But I'm gonna say LeBron, one of the players who I used to love, because the dude's a great player. You know what I'm saying? You can say whatever you want to say about him. You like him, hate him. He's a great player. Um, and he was one of my favorite players. I'm a Carmelo guy, but he's one of my favorite players too. But once he starts speaking about things dealing with social justice issues, dealing with certain politicians, that he really don't know, but he was just speaking them, and being that he have a platform of hundreds of millions of people that follow him, um, I was very disappointed in him. And eventually, when he kept doing it, I just had to like cut tie with him because it's like you misleading people. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be speaking on things that you don't have knowledge of. And actually, I made a video about him and Kevin Durant on my channel called "Shut Up and Dribble." Because a lot of times, not all, and not in all situations, but 85 to 90% of these athletes are dummies. They straight meatheads. They just good at their particular sport, and that's why they where they are in life. But for this them have it, because especially in the black community, really the black community, they seem to try to make athletes be our leaders and our spokespersons. But most of these dudes are morons. Yeah, you might have a Jim Brown here and there, or Muhammad Ali, but for the most part, these dudes are brain dead idiots. They don't know what they're talking about. They are dumb. They meatheads. They where they at in life because they was extremely talented in a particular sport. And LeBron James is one of those people. Kevin Durant is one of those people. These people could probably don't know 10 plus 10, right? But they so damn talented when it comes to basketball. That's what they made they living, and they doing well in life. No foul, no harm, no foul. But when you speak about issues that you don't have knowledge of, when you are a public figure, especially in today's time, because Jordan didn't even have social media, but especially in today's time, it just makes you look stupid. And it makes people not like you. That's why LeBron is so hated, because he just spoke up on so many different issues that just he didn't have knowledge of. He don't know what he's talking about. And then he always still playing victim. Like a couple years ago, allegedly, somebody went into his multi-million-dollar neighborhood, which I don't believe that, because you gotta understand, I've had friends, I got family members stay in these type of neighborhoods, and a lot of times you gotta get clearance before you even enter one of these neighborhoods. So he's staying in this top of the line neighborhood, I believe it's Brentwood in L.A., and some magically somebody comes sprays the N word on his door, all over his door. So you mean to tell me nobody's seen nothing, no cameras capture somebody coming in your yard and spraying the N word on your front door? Like, these type of things, bro, just don't make sense. He made a big deal out of it to virtual signal, and that's one of the reasons why he's so hated, because he's still playing the victim role, and you're a multi-millionaire, it probably soon billionaire. And so, like I said, because I mentioned earlier that he was raised by his mom and the Jordan was raised by his mother and his father, and somebody probably saying, well, what that has to do anything? Well, they got a lot to do anything because when you raised in a nuclear family, you're a balanced person like that. When you raised by one parent, whether it's the father or the mother, even though single fathers are more successful with children than single mothers, it's still gonna be a chemical imbalance. They're gonna be too soft and overly emotional, or they're gonna be too hard and overly disciplinary. That's the thing that happened when they raised by one parent. That's why God made it the way. God don't make any mistakes, and He made it the way it take two to make a child. But like I said, I'm gonna get into this video of what they saying, and of course, I'm gonna chime in.
The Athletic came out with a survey it did of anonymous NBA players. 108. It talked to 108 players. That's pretty good sample size, Rob. That's about a quarter of the league, roughly, right? And they asked them all types of questions. I'll go through a few of them. Who's the MVP, Rob? Who you think the players voted for?
MB.
Joel Embiid, 50%. Nikola Jokic, 25.5.
Of course, that's wrong, but of course, we know why they doing that to Jokic because, of course, he's a white boy. But at the end of the day, we gotta let us. My thing is, I call balls and strikes. Um, Jokic is the MVP hands down. I love Embiid. Embiid is a great player, but this season, MVP is a regular season award. Jokic got his team to the number one seed, and damn near, if not, averaging a triple double. He is the best point guard center ever in history. The dude is just a generation of talent. But this season, from me watching him, from me looking at his stats, he should be the MVP hands down. But of course, we know the league is majority black, and they not gonna vote for a white boy to be MVP over a black dude. But that's not here. I just wanted to add that in. Jokic is the MVP for the 2022-2023 NBA season. I don't know if it hasn't been called yet, but that's my opinion. Off factual data.
Giannis, 15.7. Jason Tatum got 3.9. Uh, let's see what's next. Who's the best defender?
Players
Wow,
get
he
it,
won by
players
a
get it
nice.
wrong a lot too.
He won by these. It seems like they took these seriously though.
I'm just saying.
Drew Holiday, 28.7%. Lou Dort was second with just 11%. So now this year's Defensive Player of the Year, Jaren Jackson, was only got 4% of the vote. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He was eighth, um, just ahead of Draymond Green. Who you build if you're building a roster? Who would you sign first? This guy got 52% of the vote, Rob.
Giannis.
Giannis, yes. Second, Jokic, 8.7. Luka third. Steph.
And I want to add something since they said that about Giannis. I believe, I'm going to be honest with you, and it's just my personal opinion. I believe Giannis is, um, I believe Giannis is one of the most underrated. And this might be, people might say underrated. He the guy got MVP, the guy got a champ. But I feel like he underrated because people don't really talk about him a lot, bro. Like this dude single-handedly won a championship. But what I mean by single-handedly, um, I can't really think of the last time a player. LeBron couldn't even do this. And don't get it twisted. Chris Middleton is a superstar, first ballot Hall of Famer. Jaru Holiday is a superstar, first ballot Hall of Famer, a great defender. But I believe I can't really think of the last time a superstar, a megastar by himself, no co-star. All these other teams like the Miami Heat team with LeBron, Bosh, and Wade, or the Lakers with Shaq and Kobe, Scottie Pippen. It always been at least two megastars on a team that won a championship. But this guy single-handedly in this era, in the super team era, brought his team to the final and won a championship, bro. Dude gets no credit like he deserves, but dude is a generational talent and may be a top 10 all-time player ever. The dude is a great player. And I just wanted to add that in.
Joel Tatum. Uh, who's the most overrated? We did that. That was Trae Young. Um, Who's the most underrated player? Give you a hint. I said his name earlier. Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday, really? Wow.
That's a decent. That's not bad. Shea Gilgis Alexander. He won't be. I don't know if he's still underrated or not, but he's a great player. All right, and then Rob, they got to this. Who is the greatest player of all time? Michael Jordan got 58.3% of the vote. LeBron got 33%. Kobe got 6.8%. And Bill Russell got, I don't know what, it's a small percentage. And this is the one I scoffed at. And loved the dude. Was a great player, but Tracy McGrady.
What do you mean? He voted for himself? What?
He was fifth. It was Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, Russell and McGrady were actually tied for fourth.
Chris,
that hurts the survey. I'm sorry. Like, they should have left that part out.
Where's Kareem? Kareem not even on the list?
Kareem, again, love Tracy.
Where's Kareem, Chris?
There's about how many guys should be on there before Tracy? I mean, Tracy just was hurt too much, never won the playoff series.
That is comical, and that's what I was telling you.
Okay, let's get on Tracy McGrady. We're not gonna do too much on these two numbnuts talking about my boy Tracy McGrady. Tracy McGrady, and this goes back to just what I was just saying about Giannis and why he's so great. You know, Tracy McGrady never was able to get over that hump. He was a part of some great teams, the Magic, the Rockets, even the Raptors at one particular point, even though he was kind of up and coming at that time. You know, Tracy McGrady was a great player. Will I say he was the greatest ever? Will I even put him in that conversation? No, I won't. But let's not be too disrespectful to Tracy McGrady. Tracy McGrady was a great player. As a matter of fact, you know, my first favorite player of all time when I really got into basketball and became a basketball connoisseur, I love it so much. To study it. I never was a great player. I never really was into playing it. I liked to play it. But I never was no great player, and I never played for no teams and nothing. But when I first began to get into basketball and study it as as the game, my favorite player was Isaiah Thomas. After Isaiah Thomas, it was kind of like it was real hard between Iverson and Tracy McGrady, but I leaned with Tracy McGrady because I really like Tracy McGrady. Tracy McGrady in the Magic was great. I mean, for the Rockets too, but in Orlando, Tracy McGrady is one of the best players ever. Of course, he didn't get over the hump and win a championship or even a playoff series, and that really, really did hurt his legacy. Because, like I said about Iverson, I mean, I'm not Iverson, but I do want to say something about Iverson. But like I said about Giannis, a great player, and it don't happen all the time. Because we know Charles Barkley wasn't able to do it. Another great generational talent. John Stockton and Karl Malone together, two generational talent. They wasn't able to get over the hump. So we understand that great players sometimes don't get over the hump. But that's why, like I said, that Giannis is so underrated because single-handedly, no other megastar on his team took his team to the championship and won. And that's just a testament to what I'm about to say about Tracy McGrady. Tracy McGrady is a great player. And after Isaiah Thomas, he was my favorite player until Carmelo came in the league, and then I made Carmelo my favorite player. But T-Mac was a great player. T-Mac was a great player. And I don't want to try to let them, down on his name and, people that don't really know about him. Go look at some highlights. Go look at some T-Mac mixtapes. T-Mac was a great player. A transcended generational talent. Just never was able to get over the hump and win the big game. And Iverson, I want to speak about Iverson real briefly. Iverson was another one of those players who was transcended all world, all time athlete, not just basketball player. Dude was a great football player as well. He could have went to either league, NFL or NBA. He chose the NBA because he was a big fan of Jordan. But a lot of people don't talk about him, and of course it's because another one. He never won a championship. In 2001 when he played the Lakers, I never forget watching that series with my father. Iverson went the first game one and single-handedly kicked the door down of a prime Shaq and a prime Kobe. This was one of the games that, I never forget in my life. You know what I'm saying? It just was a great game. And Iverson showed why he was who he is, but of course, they backdoor and swept Iverson because he didn't really have any help. And Iverson was another generation of talent. And people like to say that when you have that GOAT conversation, I would put him in that GOAT conversation. If he had one championship, I wouldn't put him over Jordan, of course. Because like I say, I think Jordan is just in cement. I think it's in cement. I think it's in stone that he the greatest ever. But Iverson would be more in that conversation with LeBron. Iverson is the reason why players gotta wear suits on the sideline now. But I noticed they didn't kind of loosen that up a little bit, and it can be a casual look. But you gotta be casual on the sidelines now. Back then, Iverson was the player who started players coming on the sideline when they was hurt or whatever, and sitting on the side, like they come straight out the hood, pants leg rolled up, buku chains, tattoos, cornrows. Iverson started that. Iverson started that, and that's the thing with me when you say a GOAT conversation. When you had that GOAT conversation, um, what did you do? Not only on the court, but what did you do to influence the game of basketball? What did you do to lead? What did you do to leave your stain on the NBA logo? And there's a few, and that's one of the things that he did. And of course, NBA is a brand, and there's a lot of, it's a world-renowned brand, and that just was hurting the bottom line, which is everything about the bottom line, which is the money. And like, listen, you coming to the game 2 thugs out, Iverson. We gonna have to stop that. So you gotta come to the game dressed either in a suit or casual wear. Can't come to the game no more with your pants leg rolled up, sweatpants, tattoos, 14 chains on, diamonds everywhere, and cornrows. We're gonna have to shut that down. You gotta come on the sideline casual, and that's still to this day. That's because Allen Iverson, for you youngins that don't know. Because before that, you can come on the sideline dressed however you want to. But Iverson took it to another level. Um, and right now, his shoes, the answer and the questions, are big time shoes. I would put a pair of ounces on or questions. I just don't really like them no more. I had them back in the day, and of course, they're a big time shoe. Um, but right now today, I'll wear them before I wear some LeBron. LeBron and Kobe's, it's some big time basketball shoes. But that's it. Outside off the court, they not no stylish shoe that you can wear like Jordans or Allen Iverson shoes, the ounces, the questions. And I remember Allen. I'm gonna show you another thing. Allen Iverson came out with like how like Jordan got the team Jordans. That's not really the retro, but they like the team Jordan. And sometimes they not cheap. People get it twisted, like they cheap. Allen Iverson came out with a line of shoes. I don't know if people remember this. I do because I had a pair, and I was a big fan at that time. I loved Allen Iverson, but he came out with a particular shoe called OTCs, off the clock. That was what they was called, off the clock, and they was like a casual. It wasn't a casual. It was like a basketball. It was. I can't really explain it. Y'all can go look it up. Allen Iverson Reebok off the clock collection. And it was a nice shoe. And I actually had a pair. And people was actually rocking that. People don't even really rock Team Jordan. Not black people anyway. But anyway, right now to this day, Allen Iverson shoes, the question and the ounces, still big time sellers. And these are things that I'm saying that add into you being a GOAT. Is your shoes still relevant? Iverson been out of the league, I don't know how long. Probably about, Allen Iverson been out of the league probably about what? 10 years, 15 years, something like that. And he another one. His shoes still big time. People still rock ounces. People still rock questions. I don't know if I don't know if off the clock collection is still popping, but or still being made. But Allen Iverson still is a figure. Allen Iverson still is celebrated wherever he go. Everywhere LeBron go, they boo him. Booed him at the Super Bowl because he is not liked, bro. Because he opened his mouth about situations that he have no knowledge of, and he make himself look stupid. And he just and I remember one of his teammate Mario Chalmers said something. He said nobody don't feel LeBron. LeBron friendly. Everybody friend. Man, Jordan was man. People fear Jordan. Jordan stopped people from getting championships. Jordan single handedly stopped Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, John Stockton, Patrick Ewing, just to name a few. These are four great generational, transcendent talent basketball players that Jordan single handedly stopped. Well, not single handed him at Pimpin, but stopped from getting championships. So let him finish.
About players getting it wrong. Like, what a ridiculous list. Can you imagine being Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who Chris is walking around this earth as the greatest basketball ball player of all levels? High school, Power Memorial in New York, college, UCLA, and then had a great NBA
greatest
career.
basketball life,
Am I right? Like
you're just
he,
high school.
he doesn't
college,
get one
if
vote.
You take the three levels. Yeah. I mean, they should have left that little. They should have just left it at MJ, LeBron, and Kobe.
I mean, what an embarrassment.
All right, but here's what we wanted to get to.
That's the
Rob.
new
Now,
media you want to follow? I'm just asking you guys. That's the new media you want to follow? Okay.
when they did this survey 4 years ago, which was the last time they did it, Michael Jordan has 73% of the vote, and LeBron only had 11.9. I told you, now it's 58% for MJ and 33% for LeBron. Rob, this is my theory on this. And everybody knows you and I think Jordan's the GOAT and LeBron's second. But I have said, even though it wouldn't be my view, that, Rob, our generation, well, I should say my generation and then your generation. You're a generation ahead of me. My generation and your generation.
I'm my generation ahead of you. You know, a generation is 25
I'm just
years.
messing
Okay,
with you.
I'm just.
Our generation dominates the GOAT discussion right now. And we say it's Jordan. You know this as well as I do, Rob. The previous generation doesn't say it's Jordan. They don't really say it's anybody. I don't think there is a consensus.
They didn't have that conversation, so that's
you're
why.
right.
When
we were covering the league, I don't ever remember GOAT conversations. You know, it was a different landscape.
You
didn't
got
have
3
debate
hours to
shows
kill in the morning on TV.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's just
you got
be honest.
exactly.
Okay.
You didn't have national radio shows even. Yeah, I never remember hearing that. But if you ask Oscar Robertson or Kareem, they, at least from what I've seen, they tend to say, yeah, there is none. You can't say him. So they don't necessarily say it's Jordan. They could name a Bill Russell, Kareem. They might name a few guys. Maybe some name Jordan, but it's not like our generation. Our generation, Jordan is pretty much unanimous, essentially. I have said this though, Rob, that when the younger people, the Generation X, some millennials, but particularly Generation X, when they are controlling the conversation, and I'm not even sure what the Generation X's are, but the younger people, when the younger people are controlling the narrative and the discussion, and they're on these shows, they got the radio shows and all that, I have said it's very likely, Rob, that they will recognize LeBron as the GOAT, as we do Jordan. And this, to me, is a little bit of an example of that. Because obviously the league is younger than it was 4 years ago, and now all of a sudden LeBron's got more to vote. 3 times as much as he had before.
Yeah, but I disagree. I totally disagree, and from this standpoint. People still know who Babe Ruth is and still consider him one of the greatest players. He's not. You might not have he's a good. No. But I'm just saying. But nobody's forgotten Babe Ruth.
Nobody's gonna forget
Okay.
Jordan.
Hold on. Let me make my point. Let me make my point. And we saw after the Last Dance on a survey of younger fans who use the internet and use social media, they picked Michael for every category, even one or two that should have been in LeBron.
Right.
Okay? So I don't believe that. And the longer LeBron plays without...
As I said, the Last Dance stamped LeBron's legacy as the GOAT. I mean, if you watch the Last Dance documentary, I mean, it's no question. On all eras, how popular the shoe is, how how he knew how to win and not to keep his mouth shut dealing with social issues and politics. Bruh, the dude, that documentary, The Last Dance, if you didn't watch it, bruh, that is a that ends the GOAT conversation on why Jordan is the forever GOAT, in my opinion. Cause maybe it may change, but as of right now, is a fact. But is he the GOAT in cement, concrete? In my opinion, yes. But you never know what the future holds.
Winning, the more he hurts his legacy. So if he plays 3 more years, Chris, and doesn't win, and he has 4 championships in 24 years or whatever that number may be.
This man was so important, bro. This man won 3 back-to-back championships. Took a 2 year break off from basketball period to play baseball. His team didn't win. He came back after the 2 year hiatus and took his team straight back to another three-peat. This is who this man was, bro. Like, I mean, this dude was really that guy, bro. On the court and off the court, bro. He did his thing to solidify himself as the GOAT, bro. Real talk.
I don't think that even what made him go up is he became the all-time leading scorer. So people are going to give you points for that. Yeah, I do. I don't think that.
I think that's some of it. Yeah.
I think that it's recent. It happened this year. It's on the minds of the people who are voting because they just saw it. I don't believe that. I think the poll after The Last Dance was an indication to me more so because that was not the old heads voting. They're not doing the social media posts. They're not on ESPN.com doing those things the way that the younger generation. And for them to watch that and overwhelmingly look at Michael Jordan and say, you know what? Man, that dude was unbelievable. Man, that dude never lost in the finals. Man, that dude won 10 scoring titles. And that doesn't mean that LeBron's a bum, because you know I have a second.
Right.
I'm not saying that. I think the longer he plays without winning, the longer it hurts him. And I don't know what the end's going to look like, but I do not believe that.
I think you make some interesting points. I do agree with you that there are things helping Jordan even with this younger generation. One is The Last Dance, Rob, and you're right. And that was recent. So right after that,
You remember that?
I don't remember what the number was. It was like 70% or something like that.
And then you remember
it
there was
a lot
a category.
Of younger people. They went by age. So it was a lot of the younger people were voting Jordan. So I'll give you that. I also think, Rob, this movie, it may not be huge, but this movie Air is probably going to help him. And his shoes.
You just said
We've
it, Chris.
talked about it. They're bigger than they were even when he was in the league.
When I got my first pair, they're way bigger.
They're way
bigger. And all of these kids know, Chris, every time I'm at an airport, and
Make a move in the most electrifying Honda vehicles yet.
and a teen, a 12-year-old, 15-year-old, or 17-year-old, they see me wear my Travis Scotts or something, they stop me. They're like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, those are
who
so
this old
fresh.
dude in these Travis Scotts?
Yeah, right. Dude, you know what? Chris, it's funny you say that. During the pandemic, I was on a plane. And I had on, I think, the Travis Scotts. And there was a guy, we were sitting, there was a seat between us in the exit row. So I went to the bathroom, came back, and I guess he saw my sneakers when I got up and walked or when it came back. And he was like, he just looked at me and tilted his head and said, "You sporting Travis Scotts?" My man.
How old was he? I mean, roughly.
In his 20s, and he just was like impressed. He was like,
Nah, I believe
like,
it. I believe it.
You're like Chris.
Right.
You're sporting Travis Scott.
Right. No, but I agree with that, Rob. Jordan has become mythical. And I don't mean that he's like viewed as better than he actually was, because obviously he was fantastic. But Rob, like you brought up Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth is mythical. We never saw Babe Ruth.
No.
But like you said, he's mythical. Muhammad Ali is mythical. I was telling Rob G earlier, I mean, you could make an easy argument.
Shut up, none of them guys mythical. They did things that anybody do that work harder than crap. Jesus Christ is mythical. Nobody can do the things he did. But that's not here or there. Just want to add that.
Admit that Ali wasn't the greatest of all time.
Easily.
Had 5 or 6 losses,
Rope a dope, it was getting beat up like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, right. The toll that it took on him. CompuBox isn't. I love Ali, but I'm just saying CompuBox is not fond of Ali, like the analytics and all that, the stats. But he's mythical. And Jordan has become mythical. And I do agree with you, right? Like, to surpass Jordan, I believe, somebody's going to have to do something that's just unheard of. Now, I don't know, though. The LeBron, like I said, we'll see. Because when the millennials, he already jumped up 33%. But you make an interesting point about the longer he plays. Because I agree, when we nitpick, if he's only got 4 rings in 24 years, I mean,
Right.
that doesn't compare to 6 and 15. But I don't know that everybody will look at it that way. He's making individual noise. He's building a longevity argument. And he's going to be at such a high, like, he's going to be obviously the all-time leading scorer already. Assists, he's in the top 5, I believe, or will be for sure. He's going to have individual numbers that are huge.
How you doing?